Well, welcome back, everyone, to our wonderful Health and Wellness Summit here today. And we're very, very happy to have you back. We have a very exciting speaker, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. It's a very, very kind of a unique experience that he's going to tell us about and what he does in terms of his physical training. And this is Johnny Veira. And Johnny has a facility called Functional Patterns in Delray Beach, Florida. And so, Johnny, tell us a little bit, if you could. First of all, thank you so much for showing up today. We really appreciate it. And
hello, Clyde. Yeah, thank you for your time as well.
And I've watched your videos, and I have, I think, a pretty good idea of the amazing things that you do. So please tell us a little bit about how you got into this and what makes functional patterns different than other modalities.
Yeah, well, thank you for everybody for listening. I'm a human biomechanics trainer. I started just like other personal trainers. I went to school, I learned about training modalities, and I started to experience many different things. I covered CrossFit, weightlifting, athletic training, yoga, stretching, myofascial release. And I started to find that my path is not just promote strength and conditioning, but I also want to help rehab people and improve people's lives far beyond the aesthetics or far beyond the idea of how much flexibility I have. Mm-hmm. And eventually this led me down functional patterns. Functional patterns really caught my attention because it started giving me ideas and tools towards dealing with many problems that we face nowadays. Now, what I mean nowadays is the relationship that humans currently have with their environment due to the necessities in our life. You know, we have to work, we have to spend 8 hours in the desk from the time that we're small to the time that we get to grown-ups. And sometimes our main jobs depend on that, just being at a desk, written, but you still do your job. The main things that eventually this leads to problems in hips, core, shoulders, neck, and I started to ask myself, how can I help myself and other people when it comes to these problems? Functional patterns started talking about training a human being in relation to their blueprint. When we talk about blueprint, and we talk about functions that we engage in, such as standing, sitting, laying down, walking, jogging, running, and throwing mechanics, which are things that you will most likely see in sports or any activity that requires to use the human body. Right. And this started giving me an idea like, okay, I don't need to just do an exercise for the sake of growing a muscle, but I can do an exercise in relation to walking and also improve that muscle function around that function. So it made things a little bit more clear in the way we can help human beings improve the way they function at the end of the day.
Interesting. So, I saw some of your videos, and it seems like, and you showed this one where people were having a hard time actually making certain movements, and you would lead them through a series of your exercises, I guess you would call them, or modalities, and then you'd show the improvement, and it was pretty remarkable. Like there was a little kid, I think, that couldn't walk very well. And then,
yes.
Yeah. So tell us, exactly what happened there and as an example.
Yes.
Okay.
So something I like about training kids is that they're sponges. Mm-hmm. Now, I feel those sponges that are, we call some of us, we may call it Bambi legs, or some of us, we may call it flaccid behaviors. When muscles, bones, and ligaments, they're not working in a tensegrity manner, which is in a balanced way to keep the structure working together. Mm-hmm. So we like taking a lot of before and afters. This way we can actually tell if what we're doing is helpful or not for the individual. Mm-hmm. Now, for this client, he had problems walking and his balance was a little off. And the way this person used the arms in relation to their legs was also off in timing. So I went about training the way their core relates to their rib cage and their pelvis, which is foundational things that we have put aside for a long time. and also addressing the way this kid took each step forward. So what I like about that is that, training is not just about going up and down, side to side, forward and back, but eventually you can implement all of that in a walking pattern. So sometimes the training is not, it's not going to be so much about doing a plank all the time, but we'll grab a dumbbell or cable machines,
Right.
which promotes resistance training, and I'll tell the client, hey, grab this handle and take a step and punch forward. By doing this, I'm already creating the mechanics that leads this person to have a better propulsion forward, in addition to fighting a force vector, which makes them go out of balance.
Okay.
So this kind of training, I'm starting to implement ways that their body can fight gravity and also promote more horizontal force vector in their walking pattern.
So this is a program that's really designed individually then. It's a program, yeah. What do you do? You do an evaluation of how the person moves and then you go from there and create a program for them?
Yeah, so first of all, I start with asking a few questions, such as what their goals are, what they think health is, how they go about improving their motion or their body. Then we take before pictures of their posture. The simple cues that I tell them, hey, take a deep breath, exhale, and then turn to the side, just to get a good quality idea of what is their unconscious postural behavior. And then we also record their before and afters of the way they walk, jog, or run. This way we can study and analyze what are the shapes of the body, and what are the dysfunctional shapes, what are the functional shapes. This way people can have an idea about what is going wrong and how we can address this later on. So that will be most of the assessment. Mm-hmm.
All right, so I just want to make sure, though, people understand this is not just for people that have something wrong, right? I mean, let's say you get, some, college athlete that's performing at a very, very high level, okay, and he's in great shape and, doing all the right things. What can you do for him?
Yeah. So for him, I will study the athletic training that they have, and their postural behaviors, or the spine that they need to have in order to function at its best. For example, the posture of a fighter is not going to be the same as the posture of a swimmer. The posture of a martial artist is not going to be the same as a soccer player. So what we do is we study the best in their field. For example, the best soccer player right now out there, the best wrestler, or the best fighter. We study their head patterns, their shoulder patterns, rib patterns, spine patterns, pelvic patterns, and get a basic idea of what will be the most ideal composition for a client that comes in. And then we start putting the training according to what they need in their sport so they can succeed at their best. Now, what I like about it is that I'm not really trying to mess too much with their own way of training at their sport, because that's something that they're pretty good at, and I'm most likely not gonna have to change it too much. Instead, I'm gonna address more the way they behave unconsciously, and how can I promote the patterns that will allow them to keep their body ready for fight or for their athletic sport, and not let it go back into dysfunctional behaviors.
So you would, let's say, a tennis player that I gave you, this college tennis player, you would look at like somebody like Roger Federer or somebody like that, and see, who has virtually perfect strokes. It's arguably the best tennis player ever. And so you would maybe model that, for somebody else, and try to get this person's body so that they could function and be able to do the things that he does. Is that correct?
Yes, and exactly. And we'll cover things such as the way the rib positions on top of their hips, their rhythmic patterns when walking or when performing their swings, and also studying how they breathe, and implement all of these behaviors into training into a training practice that they can take over home and they can keep advancing at their own time.
All right. So just because I really want to make this point clear to everybody listening. So you could take somebody like that wanted to be another Roger Federer, and then your next client could be somebody that was maybe a child who was physically and maybe even mentally disabled and was having a hard time walking properly, and take
Yes.
the person and do that. So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter where they are, you're going to be able to create a program that will help them move better, help them improve their functionality, their
Yes.
physically their
Yeah.
function. Yeah.
Yeah, because this training is not, it's not just for somebody who's injured or for a person who has cerebral palsy or Lyme disease,
Mm.
so many things that I've dealt with. Instead, it's more for the general human being, but we cater it according to what they need.
So tell us a little bit. I think people have a pretty good picture now that you can work with anybody, improve their functionality no matter what. Okay. So
Yeah.
now, how did you discover all this? You know, what kind of
Yes.
training did you do, or was it all self-discovery?
Um, what I like about FP and this training, functional patterns, came out by Naudi Aguilar, is the way he teaches us. He didn't teach us saying, hey, this is A, you deal it with B, or 1+1 = 2. He basically tells us, hey guys, there's a lot of things going on out there. I'm going to give you guys a set of tools, and you guys are going to have to make a circle and find what works best for each client and for each individual.
Oh, so who
So
was
this
that? Who
straight
was that again? What was it?
Naudi Aguilar.
Okay. And he's the one who's created functional patterns.
Yes,
And
yes, he created functional patterns in San Diego.
Did you train personally with him?
Yep, I trained with him. I got all my certifications from my foundations level to my specialist level 3 with him.
Okay. And how long did all that take?
I would say a good journey of 5 years
Hmm.
so far, and still going strong.
Really? And where did you have to
Yeah.
go? Where did you have to go for that training?
So for my first 2 courses, we did it in Seattle when the HQ was based there.
Mhm.
But then he moved to Hawaii,
Mhm.
Lahui, and now he's running his operations from that part of the state.
Smart.
Yeah.
I lived in Maui for about a year and a half. It was, wonderful.
Such a beautiful experience, and it gives
Yeah.
you so many tools in regards to a good environment and health. So I definitely see the benefits in
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't complain about South Florida. What about you?
No, I cannot. There's no complaints. I got sunlight. I mean, I can get out there and enjoy my environment. I don't have to put on 3 layers every time I go out to throw out trash. So
I
I'm
know.
enjoying this.
It is really, really, really nice. It's very, very nice. So let's talk a little bit about lower back pain, because that seems to be so common in people. What can people do? Can you give people some advice in terms of what you know, in terms of lower back pain?
Yes, yes. It may not be the average advice, but what the first thing I would say is take pictures of your posture laterally, standing, and also sitting down, and also pictures of posterior view. This is going to help you understand where your body's at. Usually, when you think about lower back pain, it's a referral, or it may be a symptom, but it doesn't mean that it may be the real problem.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to think more that muscles are synergistic with others. So if something's wrong in some other place, the lower back muscles may try to compensate, or you may try to lean more into one side of the lower back than the other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's totally normal. The human body is meant to find a way to keep something safe and give other things that are not safe a break until things find a better solution. So for this lower back pain, myofascial release is some of my favorite tools. Myofascial release would be self-massaging with either a tennis ball, foam roll, lacrosse ball. Another ways for this lower back pain would be to practice proper breathing. Now, what I mean proper breathing is to understand where your air goes every time you take a breath. A lot of the society nowadays is going into constantly breathing into the chest, which creates a rhythmic pattern similar to anxiety. And eventually this pulls the lower back muscles forward. For example, and this creates a shift to the T-spine forward, the spine goes forward, and the lower back starts compressing even more. So find a ways to breathe more into your back ribs. That's going to be one of the main topics of conversation that you may find nowadays. A lot of us are breathing too much into the front, not enough into their back or their sides. And also working exercises that promotes the connection between your ribs, your core, and your pelvis, so you have a better synchronization of that whenever you walk, jog, sit down, and it is going to help you a lot more than giving you one exercise for lower.
You know, you bring up a very, very big point, and most people don't realize how important breathing is and the different ways of using breath when you're working out, when you're walking, when you're riding. I ride a bike. That's been my main exercise lately. Because of a couple of different injuries I've had, I'm kind of reduced to biking and swimming. But you know, so sometimes you forget to breathe. People, yeah. I mean,
it's such an important.
Yeah, you just forget to breathe, you know, and breathe. And, you know, you just don't think about it, you know.
Yes. This
do you have techniques for dealing with that?
Yeah, of course. And I'll share with you in a little bit as well. So I've been doing this training of helping people with their posture such a long time that I've been truth to myself, I've jumped steps a few times. I've been trying to take people through exercises such as walking or the things way too early down the road. And this only led me to regression. And lo and behold, the biggest regression that I always put to aside was breathing and core training. Those two things are some of the most foundational because currently a lot of us were not practicing proper breathing or proper core training. And some of my favorite breathing exercises I would like to share with you guys is covering passive and active breathing. Passive breathing, we mean when the core is able to find its own functions. For example, when you inhale, the diaphragm expands. When you exhale, the diaphragm closes and connects the TVA. Everybody at home, if you cough 1 or 2 times and touch your belly, that's your TVA activating by itself. So now it's just about training that function so it becomes strong. A lot of us, when we breathe in, the belly expands and the TVA just lets go.
TVA, explain what do you mean?
The TVA is short for transverse abdominis. I want you to picture a big corset wrapping all around your belly into your lower back muscles.
Okay.
It starts from the middle of your ribs all the way down to your pelvis. And then it makes a whole loop around your lower back muscles, the back rib muscles, and the top of your SI joint. All that is a big safety net that your body made form in order to keep your organs safe, your spine safe, and all those areas that don't have too much muscle. That's what the TVA is there for. And what happens, a lot of us, when we take a breath in, the TVA expands and lets go, or the rib cage expands to the front and the TVA does not serve the holding function, like an hourglass shape. So some of the exercises I would say for people to look into, it will be Buteyko breathing. That's an amazing breathing exercise. It starts working how much you exhale. A lot of us were focusing too much on the inhale. And we don't really need that much air to be true to breathe in. You only need maybe 20, 30% to get proper air function into the back of your ribs. The more you breathe, your body may want to go into areas they may not need. So Buteyko breathing is a great one. Practicing how much core recruitment you can get out of your exhales, and also breathing more into the back of your ribs, just like we mentioned. It's such a big one, and work that with everybody.
So what you're trying to do is exhale as much as you can until your abs tighten. Is that right?
Yeah. For example, when you exhale, you can think about blowing a candle, or you can think about blowing a fire. When you think about blowing a fire, there's going to be more TVA function that's going to be recruited than when you try to blow a small candle. And that starts kicking in some of the ideas in the mechanics of the diaphragm.
Okay. So how do you work? I mean, do you have like a half-hour sessions or hour sessions? How do you usually work with people?
Yes. So I usually do an hour session. Um, Sometimes I feel like that's not enough, but I think it's the right amount of teaching and exercising for clients now. In this 1 hour, I cover things such as breathing protocols and postural protocols for at least 15 to 20 minutes. Then I cover a gait cycle or postural training for 15 to 20 minutes. And then I finish it with some self massage, red light, and then relaxed breathing
Okay.
for 15 to 20 minutes. That way, I give people the idea that training your body is not about exerting to the limit. It's more about doing less is more for the human body nowadays, because we're all batteries. And if I just grab you and tell you to do 1 hour of strength training, your battery is going to go all the way down. And then you go home and then you're going to feel exhausted, depleted up until the next day. And with the way we live nowadays, spending too much energy may not be the best for us.
So you want to accomplish more with less effort.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because imagine if you're a endurance an endurance athlete, right? You need to train a lot to keep up with what you've been working on every single time. But if you train 15 to 20 minutes a day and you're not really exerting to the point of death, you're exerting to the point that your muscles feel the fatigue, and then your muscles are going to need less work to keep up with what you're giving them.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yes.
So it
Yes.
really depends on what you're training for. If you're training for a
Yes.
triathlon, like an
It
Ironman
is
triathlon,
way different training. 100%.
if you just want to be in good shape and be in optimal health, then it doesn't require anything like what an endurance athlete would be doing.
No, I mean, and a lot of the science already out there. If you want to lose some weight, you're gonna have to manage how much you eat, and also make sure that the amount of energy that you're spending does not require you to eat too much, right? For example, people go to the gym like, oh, I'm going to the gym, and then they go and have like 3 meals or 4 meals, and then they have their shake and they say, oh, I'm trying to build muscle and I'm working out 2 hours in the gym every day, but I don't see myself losing weight. And then they don't see the inflammation and the stress they're promoting into their body, not allowing them to lose weight because of all the things they're doing to themselves. So my goal is to promote, to give people the understand that your body, it has to be able to manage stress, energy, and your breath work. Once you got all those three things in a better balance, your body is able to work with you towards improving and achieving your goals rather than fighting the way that you're trying to train.
So when somebody comes to you, do they typically work like with you for 3 days a week at the beginning and then lessen that amount or
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, I train a lot of athletes. One of them is a tennis athlete. She she had 3 knee surgeries already by the age of 12.
oh,
She constantly hurt her lower back, neck pain, shoulder pain. Basically, I was one of the last resource for her dad before she had another surgery of her knee. Um, and for them, one of the most shocking things was that the first the first almost year, we're almost 9 months, and I haven't trained her to the point of exhaustion. Instead, I do recovery protocols, postural protocols, and some relaxed gait cycle protocols. And so one time, her dad was like, "Hey, how come when you train other people, they seem to become more exhausted than her, but when she comes train with you, you're not really pushing her to her limits. You're showing her a few things, and it's working. My interest is to know why is this working." I'm like, because her body is already working hard. All I need to teach her body is how to work properly, and I take advantage out of better functional behaviors than something dysfunctional. And that sometimes tends to be the bigger solution for a lot of us, giving ourselves functional patterns that allows us to engage in behaviors in a more positive way rather than continuously breaking ourselves going through the same pattern that is not helping us at all.
Well, wow, that's a very interesting story because a 12-year-old already having 3 knee surgeries, there should be a light bulb going off somewhere.
Somewhere.
This is
Yeah, I mean,
not working. This is not, what's she gonna look like when she's 20 if that
oh,
continues? You know,
yeah.
her career will be over before it gets started.
The career will be over way earlier, and the idea that they have about training, because I understand you're an athletic person, you need to train every day, but it doesn't mean that every single part of your training needs to be exhausting. You already have tennis, and that's a demanding behavior. So I can just show you your body how to engage in those behaviors in a more functional way.
Yeah. Well, I wish I would have known about this when my son was playing on tennis tour for 3 years because
What? Yeah.
the main thing that kept him, I mean, he would be a top 50 player and then he'd get injured, so every
Hmm.
time he was ready to really make a jump in the rankings, something would happen, back, knee,
Yes.
hip, something, so,
Uh-huh.
it's a
And
tough.
then the main thing will be, oh, let's give you an exercise for the knee pain. Let's give you an exercise for the shoulder pain. Let's give you this. And sometimes the body just wants to relax. So the body just wants to like go through some breathing exercises, something else that takes the body and go from a sympathetic into a paras- parasympathetic.
Yeah,
That would be the relaxing one, right?
right.
Yep. And that would be something that is very important for us now. We're always looking for more stress, more stress, more stress, and sometimes more relaxation is better.
Yeah, boy, this is really enlightening. And I think it's going to be very, very good. And you're in a good place. In Delray, there's a lot of tennis players in Delray. A lot of
Yes,
professional
there's a
tennis
lot.
players live in Delray. So,
Yes,
you're going to see a lot of that. You're going to see a lot of pickleball players. You're going to see a lot of all kinds of athletes, golfers, and everything else. So, yeah, I'm very excited about this. I think it sounds like it really is well thought out and well conceived and balanced, and can help anybody from somebody that's not really injured, not really athletic, but just needs movement work to be able to function better, to a superstar athlete.
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's so many different practices and trainings that what we're trying to bring to the table is a way for people to recognize that they're humans and how to train their human body.
Right, right. Oh,
Yes.
that's probably an excellent uh, tagline right there.
It probably is right now that I'm saying. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
that sounds real
yeah, I
good.
like that. Maybe we'll make that our title of our interview here. So, that was good. And basically now at this point, I'd really like you to tell people how they find you. And
Yes.
okay, so
Yes, please. You guys can find me on Instagram. I'm fp.theRayBeach or as Johnny.Beta Training. That'll be one way so you can find me. You can also find me on email at theraybeach@functionalpatterns.com. Feel free to ask us any questions. We're always there to help people. We train people online, in person, and we are starting our group training classes in which we're trying to create a shift in the way people think about training in the group, right? We want to give a people an idea of, okay, you can train group in a way to restore your body, promote functional behaviors, and also be around people who promote a a more comfortable way of training that helps you keep your energies rather than go out with no energies.
well, that sounds great. Now your email is delraybeach@functionalpatterns.com. Do you have a
Yep.
website? Do you have a website, Functional Patterns?
Yes. It is fp.beach.com.
F F is in Frank, P is in Paul, right?
Yep. And delraybeach.com.
delraybeach.com. So those would be the two things that I would make sure people write down: delraybeach@functionalpatterns.com, email address, and website fp delraybeach.com.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Those
this
are
is
ways to find us.
very, very exciting. And thank you everybody for attending and watching us. So hopefully you'll follow through because it sounds like anybody no matter where they are, could improve breathing, health, posture, performance in their athletics, and lengthen their life, right?
Yes, that's what just and that's something that I was very happy to talk to you, Clyde, because it's all about lengthening our lifespan and continue to have a healthier life that allows us to, get up in the morning every day and water our plants without having to be wondering how's my knee or how's my lower back gonna do this time that I bend over. Right? We want those to put all those things to aside by giving you a body that is more resilient to the environment.
And as we said before we started the recording, people should be able to live till they're 110, 120 and be functioning at a very high level until the day they die. And they
Until the day they
not
die.
have to have their last 20 years or 5 years or whatever is miserable, because this body was designed to be able to function for a much longer time than we give it credit for, right?
Yep, it has the capability to restore. It has the capability to regain movement. It has everything you want it to do, as long as you put in the right kind of work and you're mindful about how you go about through those steps.
Yes, and my hero is a fellow by the name of Robert Marchand in Paris. He's 110 years old now. He still rides his bike. He still rides his bike an hour a day. He was competing in an event that he created in Paris until he was 107. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and the doctors were saying that studied him said that he was improving his conditioning, was still improving his abilities in his conditioning every year from his training at 107. They said that.
Wow. Oh
Yeah.
my Jesus. It just gives me goosebumps to listen to this kind of stuff.
I'll send you the link.
Yes, please.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. It was a great interview. And Johnny, you did a great job. Thank you explaining what you guys do. And hopefully people will follow through and come to fpdelraybeach.com or email you at delraybeach@functionalpatterns.com. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Clyde. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time. And please stay safe, keep your energies, and always go for functional behaviors.
Thank you, Johnny.